All right, last one on this because the WNBA pay debate has become such a hot button topic. But let's break down the WNBA CBA negotiations and the players' shirts that say "Pay us what you owe us" to the simplest form. I think a lot of this is noise. CBA negotiations, both sides take their positions and hold them until there is a deadline. And I don't believe either side in this discussion would really want to see a lockout, right? They wouldn't want to see a lockout because all that momentum would be killed right in that moment. So what I think you're going to see is a lot of posturing, meetings spun as contentious, and eventually an agreement reached where the players are paid more. Why are they going to be paid more? Well, you can't say the league is expanding, and it is expanding. You can't say the attendance is going up and the ratings is going up, and you're signing a brand new media rights deal, and the players get no cut of that. And when they got Caitlin Clark's support, that only helps as well. So that's the way I see all that actually going down and actually transpiring. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert didn't seem too concerned about it, to be honest. I've heard that there was more progress made in the meetings than has been let on publicly. But of course, the shirts led to all this discourse, which I've dove into as well. But there are some other aspects and some other wrinkles I want to touch on. The last and latest being this viral Kelsey Plum dig, if you will. And I was in the room for this. It did strike me as very odd in the moment when she said what she said. I wrote it off as kind of awkward, but let me play it for you again, and then I'll respond after the fact. This is what Kelsey Plum said about the T-shirts, and you can, Sabrina Ionescu's reaction kind of said it all.
Well, it was a very powerful moment. We didn't, at least as players, we didn't know that that was going to happen. So I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise. But the T-shirt, just United Front was determined this morning that we had a meeting for, and not to tattletale, but zero members of Team Clark were very present for that. But no, we were just we had a very
That really needed to be mentioned.
I'm trying to make a situation light, okay? But yeah, no, I think it was just all of us getting on the same page for the game. We wanted to do something that was just united and collective, and I thought that it was a very powerful moment and got the point across. And sometimes you don't have to say anything.
So it was definitely awkward what Kelsey Plum said. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and that she was attempting to have some trash talk there. She had taken a shot at Team Caitlin Clark and how much better Team Collier was earlier in the game and not associate that directly with Caitlin Clark. One, because of the delivery and the awkwardness involved there and her saying she's trying to lighten the mood. So I think that's what that was supposed to be, but it was completely unnecessary, didn't need to be said, and certainly putting it out there publicly doesn't help anyone's case. There is no benefit to that statement from Kelsey Plum, but it would be insane to shade Caitlin Clark in the midst of these CBA negotiations. We've seen it happen before. It's not as if people haven't shaded Caitlin Clark, but it would be absolutely incomprehensible for any player or anyone associated with trying to get the league more money to shade Caitlin Clark, who is as responsible or more responsible or is responsible for the growth more so than anyone could possibly be. And for the players being in the negotiating position that they are currently in. Now, back to that negotiating position for just a second. I thought this was interesting, and it received some interesting feedback online because of the source. Dave Portnoy of Barstool put out a post. I think he put out a video later as well, but he defended the WNBA players. And he's obviously an ardent Caitlin Clark supporter and Indiana Fever supporter as a result. But noteworthy, he didn't mention Caitlin Clark in the statement at all. And he brought up something that I actually didn't bring up in the previous videos. So here's what his statement said. I see lots of morons trying to act like WNBA players don't deserve more money. They're throwing around this lost 50 million number that nobody even knows where it comes from. The finances of the league are a mess, tied in with the NBA and purposely murky. The owners don't want to say how the league is doing because then you got to pay more going into a bargaining agreement. The league is exploding. Franchise values are exploding. Ticket sales, merchandise, TV rights, all exploding. The players have an opt-out in their CBA. Of course they took it. It's all about leverage and renegotiations. And for the first time in history, a league of players have in the history of the league, players have power. The players make virtually nothing while the entire league explodes. Of course, they deserve more money. Just the values of the team pay for it without all the other stuff. If somebody told me I could buy a Boston team for $250 million, I would do it without blinking. That's all you got to know about WNBA finances. And again, so many people weighing in, including me, don't have access to all the finances. And that whole, we do know that the NBA has helped support the league, but we don't know where that figure actually came from, how accurate that was. You know, that it was reported, I think, last year, basically. And people take the operating loss of last year and take it out of context because it doesn't include the new money coming in. All of the money that last year made has not hit the direct deposit yet. So that changes everything. The players are going to get paid more just based off that. It's just how much more of the pie they get the share of. Inevitably, that is going to happen. But on top of that, what he brought up about franchise values is also interesting because I didn't touch upon that. And lots of sports franchises operate at a loss. I mean, lots of businesses, startups and the like operate at a loss. They still pay their employees. But lots of sports franchises operate at a loss. But when it's like buying a painting and seeing the value appreciate or something, the value of the franchise goes up. You've got WNBA franchises now worth hundreds of millions of dollars that were not worth that in the past, which pays, like he said, for all of it. For all of it. So no one could possibly say, I mean, we use Caitlin Clark as an example because she's the example, but making $78,000 or whatever, that she isn't worth so much more than that. And then again, the constant drumbeat of everything is growing, everything is growing, everything is growing, which is coming from the league. Well, everything can't grow, and then the salaries don't grow along with it. Now, both sides have their position. Both sides are going to go into their, negotiating rooms. The players are attempting to make it public to put public pressure on the league. The league always has more leverage because they have more funds. Owners have more funds. That's the way it works. But again, I've seen so many of these CBAs. It's new and interesting with the WNBA and because of what has happened with the WNBA. But I imagine this story will unfold like the other ones in the past have unfolded, where it's like, it's insulting. It's a slap in the face. Their sides are so far apart. Maybe the expansion draft gets pushed back, but they got a long time. Even Kathy Engelberg yesterday said it. She said, like, they could basically go all the way up until the WNBA, like if they're fine-tuning stuff, there's no specific hard deadline. So expect this to play out publicly as well over a period of time. But I have to imagine no one can be stupid enough to allow the league to go into a lockout and lose all this momentum. So they will reach an agreement in my mind, and the players will get a raise. The rest of it is a lot of noise.